happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, shiver. Ooh. If you're happy and you know it, make a sneeze out. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Now put your finger way up there in the air. Put your finger way up there in the air. Put your finger in the air and shake it right up there with your finger right up there in the air.
Come on, do it with us.
Put your finger on your nose, on your nose. Put your finger on your toes, on your toes. Put your finger on your nose and then touch your toes. And then put your finger on your nose. Stick your finger in your ear, in your ear. And I bet you can't hear with your finger stuck in your ear. Put your finger in your ear. Tell me, can you hear? Hey, you got your finger stuck up there in your ear.
Huh?
Now, there's a bunch of kids sitting on the floor. And a bunch of kids clapping while they're sitting on the floor. Everybody sit there on the floor. Now, quit clapping because I'm going to sing some.
Oh, okay.
Now outside the wind is blowing everywhere. Outside the wind is chilly in the air. Outside the wind is blowing everywhere. And it's chilly, chilly, chilly wind blowing in the air. Now everybody here, put your hands in your lap. We're gonna have a story, so give them a clap. And everybody please just look up here at me. I'm gonna tell you what the story's gonna be. How about that?
Got it.
I got him. Well, we're gonna have a story now. Now, Miss Rob,
Okay.
tell me about chickens, okay?
Oh, I just got some chickens, and I had 8 hens and a rooster,
Uh-huh.
and then my sister gave me 2 roosters and a hen.
My goodness, you're just getting a lot.
So I have 9 hens and 3 roosters.
And if all those hens every day will lay you one egg, you'll have a lot of eggs.
I would have a lot of eggs,
Yeah.
but I get about 1 or 2 eggs a day
Uh-huh.
because it's
wintertime.
cold.
Yeah.
And they stop laying.
Mm-hmm. Chickens don't like to lay eggs when
And
the
I've
weather's
had to
cold.
separate some of them because they fight like cats and dogs.
They do. They peck each other.
They do.
Can you imagine?
I know. One of them I used to call his name Mister, but now I call him Rocky
Because he fights all the time.
because he does.
Uh-huh.
But he's only protecting his hens.
Uh-huh. But they you have to be careful with them, or they might peck you.
Well, one of them acted like he wanted to, but somebody told me just kind of pop them on their comb on top,
Uh-huh.
and they'll leave you alone.
Uh-huh. Just show him who's boss.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Well, we're going to see how you're going to go. Now, this is a story about chicken.
Ah, that's a story about chicken. Well, I have a chicken named Henny, and one named Penny, and one named Marla, and one named Lafayette, and then of course Rocky.
Okay. Well, I think Henny Penny is cute.
I like
Let me
Henny
name this
Penny.
chicken Henny Penny. That's
Okay.
not really her name in the book about her, but it was an old book, and I want to tell the story. And so
Oh.
I'm going to name her Henny Penny.
Okay.
Okay. She's like a big old fat pig. One morning when Henny Penny woke up, and she looked out the opening of the hen house, it was doing something very strange. Little white things were falling everywhere, and she said, "Mom." She turned her head this way. And then she got all excited and said, and she woke everybody in the hen house up, and they all ran and they all looked out. Look at them, here they are. They're all going.
Ooh, what a
Birds are
ruckus.
quacking. If that had been you, you heard all that noise, you'd have run out there to see what
I
was
would
happening.
have.
Then they all poked their heads out, and it was cold. So they fluffed up their feathers. That's kind of like their blanket that they put on. They fluffed up their feathers. They all got back in their nest and sat down and got good and comfortable. But not Henny Penny. Henny Penny is very brave, and she wanted to see what all of that white stuff was all about. And so she decided that she would go walking outside to see.
And very curious.
And you will notice that all of her sisters stayed in the hen house where it was very warm, and they watched her. And they said, well, we'll just let Henny Penny go out and investigate. She can come back and tell us. So Henny Penny went on a walk, and she walked all around the farm. Miss Starr lives on kind of like a farm. She lives out in the country too. She has lots of woods and lots of land and everything. And so she walked all around. Miss Starr, do y'all have a pond?
We don't have a pond.
You don't have. Well, this farm had a pond on it, and it had frozen over. Look, see, she's walking on it, and she's kind of singing to herself. And her feet are getting cold. She's walking all like that in that snow. She's getting kind of cold. And then she saw a strange looking sight. It looked kind of like the farmer who fed her and her hen friends every day, but it wasn't. She looked and she said,
What is that?
and it didn't say anything to her, and it didn't throw her any corn or anything, and so she didn't hang around it very long. She went walking on it, and then she found another funny looking thing. It was a scarecrow. She didn't know what it was. She looked, and all this time there was a little sheep following her, the little sheep's associate. Meh, meh, meh. Now he wasn't having a bit of trouble in the snow, because everybody knows a sheep wears his fur woolly coat, and he never gets cold. In fact, you have to cut some of it off in the summertime, or he'll just sweat himself down. But look at him, he's following Henny Penny.
He sure is.
Seeing what she's doing. I think he really wants to be friends, because he's probably kind of lonesome, you know. Meh, meh, meh. But look at her. And see, now she sat down, but when
She's
sat down,
cold.
her hiney's cold right
She's
there.
shivering.
She said, mercy me, I got to go, whatever this stuff is, it's cold. I'm going to go find me something to warm me up. My head is cold, and I can't sit down. My tail feathers are cold. About that time, she saw an open door, and the door was the door to the farmer's tool shed, where he kept all of his farm supplies. The wind had blown it open, and so she just marched in, and I wish you'd look, she's striking snow all over the floor. When the farmer comes in there, he's going to wonder where in the world, see, that snow melted, where that water came from. It was Henny Penny coming in there. Now she didn't look, the little sheep didn't get to come in. The door blew back shut. The little sheep, he's watching her. And this storage room of the farmers was full of every kind of stuff. And the first thing she did is hop over in. There was some hose pipe all twisted around and made it to a little nest, and she thought, is this some kind of a nest? She hopped over in there and sat down, but it was so big. She knew that, and it was hard and heavy. That wasn't a nest. So then she began to look all around. Look, there's a little sheep looking in. He can't get in. But she began to look around. There were flower pots up on the shelf, and she saw a big red flower pot, looked just like a hat. She thought, I could use that for a hat. But when she put it on, she couldn't see where she was going.
Goodness.
It didn't quite fit her. It was a little bit too big on her. She thought, well, that's not going to do. And then she found the farmer had thrown his boots down. And she began to investigate that, but she got all tangled up in the strings of the boots, and the boots were big and heavy, and beside that, they didn't smell real good. So that didn't do. And then the farmer's gloves, she investigated them on her feet, because her feet were terribly cold. But they were so big, the size is a little bit too large for her, so she decided that wouldn't do. And so she still investigated. Look, now see, she sees all the farmer's extra clothes here. He's got him a hat, he's got him a, looks like a hunting hat, he's got all this stuff there, and she's looking that over. But all of that stuff is too big for her. And so she thinks, well, there's nothing in there that will do me any good. So she came back outside in the snow, and then she saw a strange thing. It was the farmer's little girl's mittens that she had dropped. And Henny Penny didn't know what that was, but she looked, and she thought, that is just the right size for my head. So she just stuffed her head in it, and then, because her backside was so cold and there were two mittens, she just put the nice other mitten on her backside tail feathers. And here she came marching into the hen house to show all of her sisters. And then she went outside because that little lamb had been such a good friend, and she went outside because she was nice and warm with a hat on and something on her tail feathers. And she and the little lamb, who didn't need any kind of anything to keep him warm, had a wonderful time in the snow. And that was the end of the story. And you may say the end.
The end.
And that was very good. And we would say, bye, 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 bye. We're glad you came today. And keep your fingers crossed. Maybe it will snow. You know, this winter's just getting started. This is January. And then we've got February. Let's see, what else coming up? February. Valentine's Day's coming up, and George Washington's birthday.
Oh.
He was our first president.
He was.
And Abraham Lincoln's birthday, and so it's a lot. And Groundhog Day.
Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of funny things coming up. So anyway, February, and sometimes it snows in February. One time it snowed in March when that's supposed to be springtime.
Ooh.
But sometime it might snow. So anyway, keep your fingers crossed. Maybe it'll snow. If it'll snow one night and we get up the next morning and won't have to go to school and we play in the snow, and then it'll melt around lunchtime.
That's right.
So we can all get out and go somewhere we want to go.
That's right.
Okay, keep your fingers crossed. Maybe it'll snow, okay? Snowman, fatting round, what? See the what? The sun is shining down. Snowman, hear the warm wind blow, feel it. Here we go. Woo! Snowman, oh, where did you go? Disappeared.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We're going to disappear. Bye-bye.